The act of playing polyrhythmically describes incorporating polyrhythms into our playing, whether that is improvisationally or compositionally. Today I'm going to take a very simple practical look at how we can apply some simple polyrhythms into our playing without getting too bogged down into the theory. I did another video in my Rhythm Lectures series where I discuss polyrhythms at great length, so if you're really interested in the theory and how they all work from a theoretical level, you might want to check that video out later. Today, I'm looking at a very practical approach at how we can apply some simple polyrhythms and how we can actually create some polyrhythms in a very simple way. To do this, we need to first understand what's actually going on with a polyrhythm. We have essentially two rhythms of different lengths or different ratios occurring at the same time. Now, we will find out what this means as we go. To do this, the simple method I'm going to apply is by combining a sticking pattern of one length with a subdivision of a different length. And crucially, we need to pay attention to the emphasis points that each of these creates. So let's begin with a sticking pattern. I'm going to take a sticking pattern that is 3 strokes long. I'm going to accent the first stroke of each group, and I'm going to play that on the right hand and fill in the gaps with unaccented left hand strokes. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. And you can see I'm playing all 3 strokes evenly spaced. So I'm playing a pattern that is 3 strokes long, and the first of each group is emphasized. That accent is going to come back later, so it's really important that we recognize that point of emphasis. Now let's consider a subdivision. A subdivision determines how we divide a beat, but no matter the subdivision we choose, the beat itself is always going to be the point of emphasis. So let's take a 4-note subdivision, which in a time signature like 4/4 would describe 16th notes. If we count 16th notes, dividing the beat into 4, we have the emphasis point naturally on the beat. 1 E and 2 E and 3 E and 4 E and. Or if we just want to count the subdivision, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. So what happens if we play our 3-note sticking pattern in our 4-note subdivision? Well, the emphasis points move relative to each other. They don't align. So the emphasis point created by the sticking pattern accent is going to change its position every beat against the beat. The rate of the subdivision determines the rate of the movement of the accent. So let's see this in action. To see this, all I'm going to do is keep playing my 3-note sticking pattern, my 3-stroke sticking pattern, but I'm going to count to 4 each time. Now, to maintain the emphasis point, I'm going to subtly emphasize the 1. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. And that 1 is going to align with the beat. Let's imagine we're in a 4/4 time signature here. So I'm essentially counting 1, 2, 3, 4, 2, 2, 3, 4, 3, 2, 3, 4, 4, 2, 3, 4, emphasizing those 4 beats of the bar. And what we will find is the accent pattern created by the 3-stroke sticking moves each beat, because of course it's only 3 notes long, but we are playing it in a 4-note context. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, you can see how the emphasis point of the 1 stays constant, but the accent appears to move over the top of it. Next, we need to understand the concept of resolution. This is the point at which the pattern essentially resets and starts again, and this occurs every time the accent aligns with the beat. The 2 emphasis points essentially realign. So let's try that again and see what happens. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. At that point, the emphasis point of the sticking pattern has realigned with the emphasis point created by the beat. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. Okay? It's actually quite a short resolution once we come to it. So what does this all mean in relation to the polyrhythm itself? Well, polyrhythms are described by way of a ratio, x against y or x over y, and this describes the 2 sides of the rhythm that are occurring simultaneously. Now, in our purposes, we can derive the correct factors of that ratio from the sticking pattern and the subdivision. So we can take the 3 from the 3-note sticking pattern and the 4 from the 4-note subdivision to derive the ratio 3 against 4 or 4 against 3. The order doesn't really matter at all. However, it is very important to understand that the 3 does not refer to the 3 from the 3-note sticking pattern, And the 4 does not refer to the 4-note subdivision. So what do they refer to? Well, they refer to the emphasis points. Remember I said that this all comes back down to the points of emphasis with each rhythm. Now, when we take that point of resolution, we can count how many times did the 3-note sticking pattern emphasize and how many beats occurred. Let's try that again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. Now, if you're counting the accents, if you're counting my right-hand accents, you will find that the accent played 4 times. If you are counting the beat, you will find that it occurred 3 times. 1 E and 2 E and 3 E and then on that next beat we will resolve and start again. So we have 4 accents occurring over the time span of 3 beats of the bar. So the 3 that we derived from our 3-stroke sticking actually refers to the opposite side of the ratio. So the 3-stroke sticking actually gives us the number of beats it will play against. The 4 from the 4-note subdivision actually describes how many accents the sticking pattern will produce. So let's see this in action now against a metronome, and this will help us to really contextualize everything. So the metronome here is in 4/4 at 80 beats per minute, and you can hear the first beat of each bar is accented. 1, 2, 3, 4. So this is really where the polyrhythm comes into its own. I'm going to maintain my 3-stroke sticking pattern, I'm going to maintain my subdivision, and we're going to hear this 4/3 in action. 3E and a 4E and a. So there I did 2 full rounds of the polyrhythm. I let it resolve twice. So how come it went so long if we derived such a short resolution point? Well, we're in the time signature of 4/4 there. So even though the polyrhythm itself resolved after 3 beats of the bar, 1E and a, 2E and a, 3E and a 1. Now, as far as the beats of the bar are concerned, we don't start again after that point of resolution. 1E and a, 2E and a, 3E and a. We carry on into the 4th beat of the bar. 4E and a, 1E and a, 2E and a, 3E and a, 4E and a, 1E and a, 2E and a, 3E and a, 4E and then after 3 full bars of 4/4, we resolve again and start again. Now at this point, the theory does start to get quite complicated in terms of the resolutions. For now, it is enough to say that we can derive any polyrhythm by mixing and matching a sticking pattern of one length with a subdivision of a different length. Now, in terms of the ratios, it is crucial for the sake of a polyrhythm that those two numbers are different. If we stuck with our 3-note sticking pattern and we played it in a 3-note subdivision, the ratio is going to be 3/3, which is just 1, essentially. It resolves, it can be reduced down to 1. There is no difference. So in simple terms, the emphasis point of the sticking pattern aligns with the emphasis point of the beat. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. There's no difference, there's no movement. So as long as the subdivision always differs from the subdivision and crucially is not divisible, we will create a polyrhythm. What do I mean by that last point? Well, we couldn't play a 3-note sticking pattern in a 6-note subdivision because 6 is just a multiple of 3. We can divide it down, so it's not polyrhythmic. We need them to be non-divisible different numbers. So let's take a different example now. Let's take a 5-note sticking pattern. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm essentially playing a 5-stroke roll, a 5-stroke measured roll, an accent on the 1 as before. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm going to maintain a 4-note subdivision, 16th notes, and let's go up to the point of resolution and see what happens. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. If you were counting the accents, you will find that I played 4 accents. If you were counting the beats, you will find that I played 5 beats. Let's hear that again, but I'll count the beats this time. 1E and a, 2E and a, 3E and a, 4E and a, 5E and a, 1. 4 accents against 5 beats of the bar. So we can derive the ratio of our polyrhythm. We played a 5-note sticking pattern, that's the 5. against a 4-note subdivision. That's the 4. So we are playing a 5 against 4 or a 5/4 polyrhythm. But again, the 5 is not referring to the 5 strokes of the sticking pattern. It is referring to the number of beats over which the polyrhythm occurs. And the 4 is not referring to the subdivision, it's referring to the number of accents created. So we essentially have two things happening in parallel here. We have the process of deriving the polyrhythm and then the way of describing the polyrhythm that results from it. So let's go back to our original polyrhythm of 3 against 4, where I played a 3-stroke sticking pattern in a 4-stroke subdivision. Remember I said the point was all about the emphasis, the accent from the sticking pattern and the beats of the bar. If we remove the interim strokes, we will still get the same polyrhythm. So if I start thinking of the 3-note sticking pattern as 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, and the beat from the 4-note subdivision as just 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a, we get this. We get the emphasis points only. Let me play that on the pad so we can hear it. So this is essentially playing 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. And this is playing 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. What we find is the accent is playing 4 times for every 3 beats of the bar. That is derived from the sticking pattern and the subdivision, but it is not what the 3 and the 4 are referring to. The 3 and the 4, the numbers of the ratio within the polyrhythm, are always referring to the points of emphasis. So when you get really, really comfortable with a polyrhythm, you can actually vocalize it just by counting, okay? So if I count a 4-note subdivision in 4/4, 1 E and a, 2 E and a, 3 E and a, 4 E and a, you can hear how I am emphasizing the beat of the bar. But I can actually emphasize where those accents would fall if I were playing a 3-note subdivision, a 3-note sticking pattern. 1 E and a, 2 E and a, 3 E and a, 4 E and a, 1 E and a, 2 E and a, 3. So if I clap the beat, 1 E and a, 2 E and a, 3 E and a, 4 E and a, 1 E and a, 2 E and a, 3 E and a, 4 E and a, 1 E and a, 2 E and a, 3 E and a, 4 E and a, 1. Excuse the timing, it's a lot of it's a lot of vocalizing, but you can hear how I've created the polyrhythm vocally by counting the emphasis points, counting the subdivision, and clapping on the beat. It's the same process, we're just applying it to counting instead of sticking. So, to summarize, we can create any polyrhythm by taking a sticking pattern of one length and combining it, playing it in a subdivision of a different length that is non-divisible. I've demonstrated a 3-stroke sticking pattern in a 4-note subdivision and a 5-stroke sticking pattern in a 4-note subdivision. You could take a 7-stroke sticking pattern and play it in a 3-note subdivision. You could take a 6-note sticking pattern and play it in a 5-note subdivision. As long as they don't match, as long as they are not divisible, you will get a resulting polyrhythm of the same ratio. So if you play a 6-stroke sticking pattern in a 5-note subdivision, you will get a 6 against 5 polyrhythm, but they are not referring to the sticking pattern in a subdivision. You will get 6 beats of the bar and 5 accents, or 6 accents and 5 beats of the bar, okay? So that's a lot to think about. The only way to get good at this, the only way to understand it is by doing it and practicing it. So start with very small numbers, 3s and 2s, 3s and 4s, 4s and 5s. Start simple and build up to it. Now, the Snare Drum Virtuoso has a couple of subdivision and polyrhythm studies in there that will get you playing this sort of thing, and there are many other resources out there as well that will get you playing polyrhythms, but you can do this entirely on your own with the sticking pattern and the subdivision. Start there, learn to count both, learn how the numbers derive the ratio of the polyrhythm, but those numbers actually refer to the points of emphasis. The more you do it, the more it will make sense, the better you will become, and the more polyrhythmic you can make your playing. Have fun with it. Good luck. Thanks for watching, and I hope to see you on the next one.